Yo, Josh Naylor last night, unflippin' believable against the White Sox. All of these numbers on your screen basically went down from like the 8th, 9th inning on. So the game-time grand slam, make that the 9th. 3-run home run in the 11th to power the Guardians past the White Sox. He became the first player, listen to this, since the stat actually became official in 1920, that was a long time ago, to have 8 RBI from the 8th inning on in a game. 47 fantasy points. And he was $3,500. That's the best part of it. Now the best part of this show, highest rated edition of this show since this segment was born. Steve Buchanan and Garion Thorne here to put up their Buchs. Steve gives out his favorite plays of the day. We'll see if Garion either agrees or pivots. But gentlemen, back and forth we go. This series is once again tied at 2, a best of 7 series. Garion coming up big in week 4. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Extremely lucky. If I'm remembering this properly, I had like the White Sox team total and Jose Abreu based on a pitching matchup against a left-hander who I can't remember, and then he was scratched and had to face a right-hander. So, you know, sometimes these things just get lucky and you happen to win one, but I'm glad we're 2-2 going into Game 5 here.
Yeah, Steve, this is absolutely huge for you, and if this seesaw match plays out the way it has been, this could be a Game 7 victory for you.
Yeah, you know, people talk about how exciting Game 7s are in the NBA. This is the series you want to be watching right here. I don't care what's going on the hardwood. What's going on the sweat is what people should be paying attention to.
I love it. So it's essentially come down to a best of 3 series now moving forward here, Buchs. So start me off. Who is your pitcher tonight? Who is the man you are backing?
So taking a little bit of a chance here because it seems like the Mets haven't announced their starter for tonight, but it all lines up that it should be Carlos Carrasco. So I'm going to go with the assumption that Carrasco is taking the mound tonight because he hasn't pitched since May 3rd. So unless something screwing is going on, this is his turn in the rotation. But just a great matchup tonight against the Washington Nationals, who just simply cannot hit at all. They strike out. They don't draw walks. They don't hit for power. And now we have Carlos Carrasco, who is looking like his former self back when he was with the Indians at the time, now the Guardians. But, you know, he's someone that had surgery on his elbow, says he has full range of his arm since then, and it showed. 3.30 ERA, but an even better 2.88 FIP, so maybe he's actually been a little bit unlucky. Maybe he should be better than advertised right now. Not walking hitters, not letting the ball fly out of the park, striking out just under a batter an inning, but that actually could go up tonight when he faces the Nationals. Hopefully I don't get a fat 0 because the guy I like tonight doesn't even pitch. But that is a chance I'm going to take because we're in a best of 3 series. This is pivotal times. We're going with Carrasco.
Yeah, you had a couple of fat zeros last week, which led to that.
Calm down.
Which led to that loss. Hey, listen, man, don't shoot the messenger, Potato Chip. Gare Bear, what do you think here? We're going to pivot off this, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very pitching-heavy slate. One of the deepest pitching slates I can remember seeing. Like, you could almost close your eyes and just, like, point to a random dude and feel pretty confident that he's going to pitch at least half decently tonight. Right, like, through Wade Miley, who through weird IL quirks is, like, the bare minimum at 4K, even though he had a, like, sub 3.5 ERA last season. Like, there's pitching everywhere. I like Luzardo. I like Clevenger. But I think I have to go right to the top with Justin Verlander. There are some reasons to be a little concerned about the 39-year-old version of Justin Verlander. He's not generating swings and misses like we've seen in the past. His fastball velocity's a tick down. Like, these are things you would expect. However, he's got a 1.93 ERA and a 2.91 expected ERA. He's still been absolutely fantastic so far in 2022. He's got a 26% strikeout rate, which for anyone not named Justin Verlander would be an incredible statistic. Verlander, we're used to seeing around 35%. So maybe there's even some normalization on the horizon for Verlander as he generates a couple more swings and misses per start. But the big thing here for me is matchup. And while the Twins have actually been hitting the baseball exceedingly well across the last 2 weeks, Carlos Correa is not going to play in this game. And there's a pretty decent chance Byron Buxton is also not going to be available for this contest as he deals with a hip injury. If you're giving me this Twins lineup already without, like, Trevor Larnach, without Miguel Sano, they've had a lot of injuries so far this season. No Correa, no Buxton against Verlander. I'm going to take my chance with Justin Verlander.
And Verlander written up in your DK Nation article for best plays and studs today. This is good stuff, Garion. You've been working really, really hard. Steve, I know you have been as well, so take me to Infielder.
Yeah, so Wander Franco is the guy that I'm going with tonight, going up against Reed Detmers. The numbers for Franco against lefties this season is absurd. Well, maybe I shouldn't say they're absurd because Franco's obviously the number one prospect as of last year before he was called up for a reason. But you look at the numbers now. In his sophomore year, 495 WOBA, 269 isolated power, and a 245 WRC plus. Franco has been absolutely annihilating left-handed pitching, and now he's going up against maybe an average pitcher in Detmers, who obviously against righties has some issues. 375 WOBA against them, 5.32 FIP, striking out less than a batter an inning. So Franco is someone that obviously you're going to have to pay up for, but he has been producing even at this high level with the power. He's stolen a few bases. He can get those extra base hits. I don't mind the price tag on this one, so give me Wander.
Oh, wow. He has me sold, Garion.
Thanks.
I mean, look, blanket statement, I like the Rays tonight. There are very, very, very few bats in this lineup that I don't think are viable against Reed Detmers. I will pivot, though, and I'm kind of surprised that Steve didn't go with Pete Alonso. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to break out his BVP t-shirt. I'm not a big BVP guy, but I like it when it justifies larger trends. And last season, Pete Alonso, 16 home runs in his 169 at-bats against left-handed pitching. He's got plus power against southpaws. Career, an isolated power over 300 within the split. Well, he gets to face one of the worst left-handed pitchers in baseball quite a bit because they're in the same division in Patrick Corbin. And in his career, 4 home runs off of Patrick Corbin, a 1.198 OPS against the southpaw. I just think he owns Patrick Corbin. He owns left-handed pitchers in general. He's also on a heater right now in May, coming into this game hitting 344 in the month. So I think Pete Alonso's hot. He likes this matchup. He likes his handedness matchup. I think he's a pretty good price, too, under 5K.
Oh, man. 0-5 record, 7.16 ERA into this one. That's what Corbin brings. Okay, interesting. Outfielder, who are you looking at, Steve?
Yeah, sticking with the Mets, I like Starling Marte a lot for a lot of the reasons that Garion just laid out. Let's just be honest, okay? Patrick Corbin stinks. All right, I don't know why he's still pitching in that rotation. I don't know what they're going to do with him if he doesn't pitch in that rotation. So maybe they just feel bad for him. But they're paying a man to go out there and purposely lose games for them because Patrick Corbin just simply can't pitch at a high level anymore. So I'm going to take one of the men who's going to be hitting at the top of the Mets lineup, and Starling Marte. Hasn't been as productive as he was through the first couple of weeks of the season, but if that man is going to get on base, which there is a very high probability of doing so against Patrick Corbin, he's going to be able to swipe a bag. And that's obviously some easy fantasy points that you can accumulate with someone like Starling Marte. Does have some pop against lefties too as well at 4,900. If you're doing anything tonight, you should be stacking the Mets. So if I'm stacking the Mets, I'm obviously taking someone like Marte. But targeting against Patrick Corbin is going to be something that's going to be popular, but for good reason too as well. Corbin, has been giving up many home runs, which is incredible. But against this lineup, that's where that could start changing. His numbers at home are putrid. Give me the Mets overall, but give me Marte as well.
I mean, Steve basically backed up a lot of the points you just made, Garion, when it comes to just playing anyone hitting against Corbin tonight.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a ton of guys in this line. Like Mark Canha's like $2,700 hit second the last time they faced a lefty. Throw Mark Canha in a couple lineups. Like, yeah, Corbin stinks.
All right, let's go to. Hey, I love it. Let's go to value play. Hook me up,
you
Steve.
need my outfielder, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought. Okay, go ahead.
I wasn't quite sure. My apologies. I misstepped there. I'm gonna go with Jock Peterson. I know it's May, but it's Jocktober in San Francisco. It's been all season long. This guy has been absolutely incredible for the Giants. He comes into this slate 98th percentile or better in expected WOBA, in barrel rate, in average exit velocity. I mean, he's been fantastic. And the one knock on Peterson throughout his entire career has been the strikeouts. If he makes contact, he's an incredibly dangerous hitter. This season, he's actually got a 568 expected WOBA on his batted ball events. So essentially, as long as he doesn't strike out, he's doing some damage. And that means this is a perfect matchup for him tonight against Antonio Senzatella. My favorite stat in 2022. Antonio Senzatella has faced 58 left-handed batters. He has struck out 2 of them. He has a 3.4% strikeout rate against left-handed hitters. He's going to let Jock Peterson put some balls in play. And so far this season, that is a recipe for disaster if you are a starting pitcher. So, again, Peterson below $5,000. I think he's in a really nice spot tonight.
Originally, I thought you were just deciding to play Starling Marte as well.
No,
and going to have the first agreement like in the history of this segment this year. All right, need you guys to pick it up here for these last two. Value play, Steve, you're going to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, going back to Tampa Bay for somebody who's 3,200. Manuel Margot is averaging 14.1 DraftKings fantasy points over his last 10 games. Double-digit fantasy points in 8 straight games. All the reasons why I like Wander Franco, I like Manuel Margot. And here's the amazing thing. You look at his numbers and you go, oh, maybe he's overperforming. He's actually not. 265 batting average this season. He's expected to be 282. Like, it's crazy how well that Margot has been hitting, especially things like fastballs. Those are his numbers against fastballs. So he's actually been not as good as advertised. Give me Margot at 3,200. That's way too cheap for the way he's performing.
Gabriel, who's your value?
I'll go with Alec Boehm at 3,800. He's got a 478 expected WOBA against left-handed pitching, a 269 isolated power. It pains me to pick on Robbie Ray, but that fastball velocity has just not been there so far this season. He's only striking out 20% of opposing hitters. This is just not the Robbie Ray we saw last season. So I think Boehm can take advantage.
And then last one here, Buchs. Give me your bet. Again, Tampa Bay's involved.
Yeah, I mean, the Rays going over 4.5 runs. I give you all these guys to use in your lineup. What are they not going to score runs? Give me over 4.5 runs plus money on that one. Give me a break. The Rays should be all over Detmers tonight, and then whatever that Angels bullpen is too as well. Over 4.5 runs plus money, baby.
What's your bet, Garion?
I'm going back to Senzatella. Under 2.5 strikeouts at plus 130. It seems like an incredibly low prop. He has had 2 strikeouts or fewer in 4 of his first 5 starts this season. And again, 3.4% strikeout rate against left-handed hitters. You know the Giants are going to chalk their lineup full of platoon bats tonight, maybe 6 or 7 left-handed bats. He might be lucky to get 1 strikeout in this game before he's pulled.